Hello everyone, and welcome to Decorating with Barbara. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few simple dining room table decorating ideas. Some of these ideas you can use any time of the year. You just may want to change out your florals for the season. Now, I think most of these ideas will be something that most of you guys can get inspiration from. I'm going to do some very simple and elegant ideas, and then there will be some that will be over the top. So let's go ahead and get into it. Guys, so I'm going to start here on the table, but make sure you stay until the end because I will do a buffet styling at the end as well. So for my first look, I'm going to start with this white vase. And so I got this vase from Home Goods a while back, and you may have seen me use it in other areas around my home. And then I'm going to add some green stems that I got from Amazon. I have one there, but I'm going to probably put a few more inside of the vase. So it is spring, and I want to give it that lush, full green spring look. All of my flowering trees have all turned a really pretty shade of green, and so I'm just going to try and mimic that look. So I'm going to keep the vase a little bit toward the center, not exactly in the center, and then I'm going to add a few bowls alongside of it. And so this bowl I also got from Home Goods a few weeks back. It was on clearance because it had a few imperfections, and I just came home and kind of touched them up. And then next I'm going to add this smaller bowl in marble. Now that's one look with the bowl and the vase, but I also like putting the vase off to the side a little bit. Okay, so this is a nice clean look that you can have for your dining room without having it over styled. Now, if you're someone who still needs to add a little bit more to this vignette, I would say go ahead and add your beads to the bowl. And I just love these beads. I've shared these before. I've had them for a little while, and they are just so beautiful and unique. They are made of like a travertine stone, and I just love the simplistic look of them, but then they add that nice rustic element. And then you could also add a book up under the bowl. That just gives you a nice finished look with a few more details. And you guys may remember this book. I shared it in my last video. And this is a very practical but very good book with some great tips and ideas. And if you didn't see my last haul video, go over and check that video out, and you can get the link there as well as see some other items that I recently picked up. Okay, so for this next look, we're going to go really simple. I'm adding a very large oversized bowl to the table with Spanish moss inside. Or you can add some other, I think they call this one reindeer moss, which is a little darker green. So it just depends on your taste. Okay, so next I'm going to add a couple books next to the lamp. And then my lady statue I'm going to add on top of the books. And I think I'm going to add a candle. Let me see what I can find. I have the candle there, and then I'm just going to add the little gold clippers just to add a little gold to the mix and pull in the gold from the picture. I do like this clean and simple look for spring and summer, because after the holidays and after the big tablescape for Easter, I just like to breathe a little bit without so many things surrounding me. And as this is our look for number 2. Okay, so for the third look, I'm going to keep the buffet pretty simple. I might switch out the statue, but what I did do was bring a pretty tray onto the center of the table, just a little bit more elegant look. And this tray I've had for a long time. I got it from Home Goods. It originally was silver, but in the past year or so, I decided it needed to be gold. For starters, I'm going to add these 2 candlesticks, but things might change, so just stay tuned. Alright guys, so here is another look, and I do apologize for not being able to decorate this one on camera, but it did give me a run for my money. Now, this is one of my over-the-top looks. More is more. And what I wanted to do to keep it from looking too fussy was to bring in a tray to corral a lot of things that I enjoy having and looking at. And so I used a tray that I've had for quite some time, and then I just start layering pieces on top. And then over here I wanted to add a little bit of something else on this side, so I thought the books here was a nice complement to what was going on the tray. So I pulled in this book that had pretty much the same colors, the black, the gold, the ivory, and beige, just very neutral tones. And then, I know this seems kind of weird, I have these plates here that says wish for peace. Now that's something that I generally would use for Christmas, but when I was putting away my Easter dishes, I saw the plates and I thought, you know, we need peace. We can wish for peace anytime, and it doesn't just have to be at Christmas. So I thought, bring those out. I love the fact that they have a little trim with the gold, and then I placed the gold wick cutters just to bring in more gold. Okay, so on the buffet, I kind of kept it simple because most of the talking is on the table. So you guys know that I got my lamps from Home Goods. If you're new here, that's where they're from. But oh, and I keep forgetting to show you guys this about the lamps. Every time I'm in the dining room, I forget to show you that the lamps have a night light. Isn't that pretty? And so these are alabaster lamps, and they just have a pretty glow at night. And you could leave the lamps just with the night light, or you can do both, or just the regular lamp. So I have quite a few elements in the space that just brings in a little bit of warmth, a casualness, but with a little touch of glam. Okay, so this just may be my favorite one. All right, guys, so this is my final look, and I'm calling this the library look. Now, this is not typically what people tend to do in their dining rooms, but I wanted to do something a little different for summer. We're always coming in the dining room, putting together a floral centerpiece and a tablescape with dinnerware. And I thought, let's just do something a little bit more fun, casual, and kind of free-spirited. So I got my inspiration from an old high-end library. Now, I remember years ago when I first started getting into home decor or just into interiors, I used to see beautiful libraries in high-end magazines, and they would always have conference tables with lamps on them. And of course, you would come in and bring a book or whatever it was, and you could study or just read a book. And I just wanted to recreate that kind of an idea. They were usually dark and moody, but that's not my style for this room, and so I went light and bright. And I just brought in things that I enjoy seeing. I wanted to keep the items on the table low so that you could appreciate what was on the back buffet. And so I am calling this room a more is more look. And so instead of having everything corralled on a tray, I thought I would just make little groupings with the books and then stack a few choice items on top of the books. Alright guys, so these were just some ideas to get you inspired and thinking outside of the box and creating something that is different and unique to your own style. And think of different ways that you can enjoy your dining room, not only for the holidays. And so I hope some of you guys were inspired to decorate your dining room in a casual and relaxed way that ushers you in to come in, sit down, relax, and have a cup of coffee. So guys, let me know if you would try some of these ideas. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you at my next video. Bye-bye.